very, very interesting piece about LeBron James and his tenure as a Los Angeles Laker. He's been here for 8 seasons. It's the longest period of time, longest stretch that he's ever been with one team in his entire career. So LeBron James he, he's a Laker. That's just the way I'm looking at it. Like, he's been here. He's probably going to get his jersey retired as a Laker. Probably might get a statue as a Laker. We'll see what happens. But Dave McMenamin states that there is some tension going on here in the organization. And the tension is specifically between him and Rob Pelinka, and his feeling at times that he's underappreciated by the Los Angeles Lakers. And how do I feel about that? Do I think that it's true? I think that any relationship that's stretched over a certain period of time, right? We're not talking about something that's 6 months or 3 months. If you're talking about years, there's so much history there in those years that I'm sure at some point during those years that there's a feeling that you're underappreciated for whatever reason, right? It could be an isolated incident. It could be something that's dragged on throughout the entirety of the relationship. Something might be there to be able to give you this notion of you just feel underappreciated. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true. You just feel that way. So there was an instance, and I want to go ahead and get the actual I want the actual video because I want this to play. Let's see if I can be able to get this.
What ends up, we don't know, but at this point, in retrospect. Okay.
Good to see you, though, man. I appreciate you. Why aren't there more than one game ball?
It's a good question.
Wouldn't that have been great?
Yeah.
Hey,
had some foresight there.
I understand, like, this is this would be like Oprah giving away cards. You get a game ball. But there were so many milestones.
Yeah. So we're talking about March 31st.
Yes, sir.
Lakers beat the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
It completes what ends up, we don't know, but at this point, in retrospect, they've now gone 16-2 over a 32-day stretch. And in this game against the Cavs, LeBron James, most wins in NBA history combined, regular season.
And against the Cavs.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
15,000 points for Luka Doncic for his career, 5,000 points for Rui Hachimura. And it secures back-to-back 50-win seasons and 100 wins in J.J. Redick's coaching career. So in the post-game locker room, J.J. Redick doing a good job and kind of recognizing this group accomplishment is listing off all the things that were done by his team that day.
Mm-hmm.
And as JJ's addressing the room, Rob Pelinka takes his turn to address the room, is holding the game ball, and presents it to J.J. Redick. Shortly thereafter, LeBron James, who, of course, he arrives to the arena wearing like an outfit and then showers and changes and stuff and leaves in that outfit. Well, this night was still in the practice shorts, ice bags on his knees, slide sandals on his feet.
And he walks out.
Walks out.
By the way, Dave McMenamin here on the Rich Eisen Show talking about his piece that's on ESPN.com that's kind of burning up the entire NBA community, certainly here in Los Angeles, California, live on the Rich Eisen Show. So LeBron James.
So Dave McMenamin's on the Rich Eisen Show, and he says that particular instance on March 31st looked like it was an issue, where LeBron is now the all-time winningest player in league history. But there were so many different things that were going on. Luka scores his 15,000 point. Rui scores his 5,000 point. JJ gets his 100th win as a coach, and LeBron James does this, and Pelinka goes ahead and just isolates JJ Redick's achievement. LeBron James, according to Dave McMenamin, just walks out, has his slippers on, he's iced his knees, and he kind of just walks out. And for me, I'm just like, can you take that as him feeling slighted? No. No. I think that JJ Redick, acknowledging all of these particular things that have happened prior to Pelinka doing what he did is acknowledging the situation. Who knows if Pelinka was even aware? Although he should be. You are the president of the team. You should be aware. Somebody had to give you some keynotes or whatever it is. But for him to not say something or give LeBron the game ball or whatever it is, I don't think that particular instance is why LeBron James felt slighted or underappreciated. It's just a totality of the 8-year relationship, right? Like, if something happens in your relationship and there's one day where you just completely lose it, it had nothing to do with that day. You understand what I'm saying? There is a buildup of emotion that whatever happened that day was just a tipping point. That was just what took you over the side, but it's not what caused it. This is just built up over time. And I think that if you go through the years, LeBron wanting an extension last season, didn't get it in the offseason. The constant not being able to maximize the roster as best as they possibly could. Rob Pelinka making mistakes. LeBron James getting blamed for certain things. The pressure of LA. Just the nature of just being in a partnership for that long is going to have some type of strain. These are professional athletes. This is a guy that no matter where you have him on your list is one of the greatest players that have ever played this game. That in itself comes with pressure in regards to how to appease somebody like that. So, do I think that this particular instant bothered him? Not necessarily. I think he kind of looked at it like, this dude. You know what I mean? Just kind of like just scoffed it off and just probably wanted to start his rehab early or just wanted to get out of the building, go home, right? But when you factor in Luka now being here and the organization catering to Luka, and he was told by JJ Redick that, hey, we need you to be the number 3 option this year. Not saying that JJ did it to disrespect LeBron, but how to be able to maximize Reeves and Luka. LeBron had to play a backseat role. Was he happy with that? Sure, it wasn't the greatest news for him to hear, but for him to be able to actually take that role and accept it and thrive in it, all of those things factor into this. So, again, do I think that particular reason caused the issue? No. But there are some other things that we can talk about here. So, we talked about the Luka stuff, and it says ESPN says Lakers officials sometimes watch LeBron like an anonymous player and guessed what salary he deserves next year. The article says LeBron's camp could view that as insulting. So they're also saying that there's a contract issue here as well now, right? LeBron James is going to be turning 42. Still one of the top 30 players in the league right now. If you want to put him top 20, if he's not in your top 10, whatever it is, he's still one of the top players in the league right now. What does his dollar figure value, where is that set at now? Because we understand that if there's no salary cap, you pay LeBron James $400 million if you want to. That's how much he's valued and worth. The hell, there's probably no amount that you can be able to put on what a LeBron James's impact on your roster does for you. But if you're trying to build this team to be as competitive as possible, because we see where the dynamic is going in the Western Conference. You got the OKC Thunder, you got Spurs, and then way down here, you have the Lakers, because I can honestly say that the Lakers are the third best team in the West, right? If you want to put the Wolves in there, if you want to put Denver in there, but they're somewhere in there. And if you want to put them on top of those two, that's fine. But the gap between 1 and 2 and 3, it's not even on the same street. We're talking about Mars and Earth. You know what I mean? And that's the problem, is that are the moves that the Lakers are going to make going to be able to shorten that gap, or is it going to widen the gap or just stay the same? Because if it stays the same, then what does it matter how much money you pay LeBron? Just give him the $50 million, according to Windhorse. That's what Brian Windhorse is saying. Brian Windhorse is like, just give him the money. If he's asking for $50 million, just give him the $50 million, because the Lakers are not going to be good enough to compete against OKC or the Spurs next year anyway. So just kick the can down the road for a year. No. What you need to do is come up with a plan, Rob Pelinka. Come up with a plan that can be able to be a good plan to be able to build this team and help this team get over that hump. Because, again, basketball and sports are funny things. You can be able to have a team on paper and they can be the greatest team and all this other stuff, but you still got to play the games. Injuries happen, things happen. We just witnessed the Lakers be able to overcome the 13th highest odds in betting history to be able to win that first round series against the Rockets. No one picked the Lakers to win this series, yet they did it, and they did it without their star player. So who's to say if Luka was available for the OKC series that they don't win a game or two? You never know what happens. Shea didn't have a great series. And if he continued to shoot like that and then have Luka there, some things might happen. You never know. You just never know with sports. And that's the beauty about it, right? So what's the dollar figure? I don't even know what the dollar figure is. But my biggest thing is, as a Laker fan, I need Rob Pelinka to show some real aggression to be able to put this team together and put together a contender. Lakers are not a contender right now. Austin Reeves, as good as he is, I like Austin Reeves. But I've said on this show, I've said on social media that you cannot rely on Austin Reeves and give him $40 million. Austin Reeves reminds me of the white James Harden. He's great in the regular season, but when it comes to playoffs, it's rubbish. He'll give you little sprinkles and pockets of good there, but overall, it's just garbage. That's not worth $40 million. Is it worth 30? Yeah, because I think that Austin Reeves, he needs to be somebody's 3. Not a number 2, Damn sure not a number one. If he's your number 3 option, you probably have the best number 3 option in all of basketball. If you put him as your number 2, it's not your best number 2 option in all of basketball. Might not even be in the top 5. That's a problem. So you got to figure out how to be able to maintain your depth, how to add to your depth, how to do player development, how to draft well. All of these things the Lakers have not done. They have not drafted well. They have not developed their players well. They have not built the depth up in regards to their team. All of these things they have failed at. They have gotten little pockets here and there. You find a way to get DeAndre in, and it hasn't worked. You got Marcus Smart, which was a good addition. But you have to find ways to keep Rui Hachimura. Rui Hachimura is a need, is a must. You got to keep him. Luke Kennard, is he somebody that's going to be on your team? And if you do want to re-sign him, what is the number? Austin Reeves, LeBron James. You know, you have to add some other pieces, maybe a big man, an athletic wing or two, some young talent. There's a lot that you have to do, and the Lakers have the second most cap space in all of basketball heading into free agency. But what do you do with it? Can Rob Pelinka be able to create magic? Because if he can create magic, if he can be able to put a team together where LeBron and his camp is like, oh, Rob, I cooking. Okay. Now I feel comfortable to be able to take that $17 or $20 million. But if you're not going to do that, hell, I love LA. I'd love to retire a Laker. I don't want to go anywhere. If that's the case, if you're not going to improve this team the way you need to, then give me all my money. It's just like what he told them back in 2024. You can be able to get these players. I had a list. If you can be able to get these players, sure, I'll take less. We got none of those guys on the list. So why would he take less? Well, you think I'm Tim Duncan? You think I'm Tom Brady? I don't need to take less. You have to prove to me that I need to take less. But if you don't, then I'm going to continue to just do what I do. And you saw in a season where I was not the number one option, I still averaged 22 points a game. When Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic went down with injury to start April, I had to go right back into the number one position, the position I've known my entire life, and got this team to the playoffs and defied the odds in the first round without them. So why should I take less? Now, granted, the way the league is right now is that there's not a lot of teams with cap space. That works in the Lakers' favor. Golden State can be able to offer LeBron maybe the mid-level exception of like 15 to $16 million a year. It's not much. Knicks, probably the same thing, maybe less. There's not a lot of teams and not a lot of options that LeBron James can go to. Now, he can be able to go wherever he wants. If you want to go ahead and take a vet min and sign with anybody, that's his business. He can do that. Do I believe that he's going to do that? No, I don't. So there's a lot to prove here. And Dave McMenamin did ask LeBron, hey, you know, is there any outside of, you know, improving the team and all this other stuff, is there anything that would stop you from coming back to the Lakers? And he was just like, nah. Is there any rift that you might have with anybody? He said, not on my side. So again, there's some history here. There's some hurt feelings in regards to sometimes when you have somebody who's that that big of a stature, and they're this towering figure over your job or over your your business, your household, your organization in sports, there comes a time where it's just like, okay, how do we get around this? How do we try to operate business wise without necessarily having to kowtow to this person all the time? Hell, the Packers did it with Aaron Rodgers. They had to. They had to deal with his erraticness because he was so great in what he did for that organization. Brett Favre, same thing. So many players that you can be able to pick out in the history of sports and understand that there's a dynamic here that kind of wears thin sometimes. Are we there with the Lakers? Probably not yet. But there's enough respect there that they can be able to just have water under the bridge and move on. But there's a lot that they have to do, especially on the Lakers side. They have to prove that they can be able to deliver, because Pelinka hasn't been terrible, but he also hasn't been great. He's kept this team afloat and competitive, but you need to do more now. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can be able to share this screen, because I want to go ahead and I want to look at this particular. Is it this one? It's this one. Here we go. So if we go ahead and go look at this, there's so much here that the Lakers have to do. So Rob Pelinka believes that 15-2 record that they had in March was a sign that they can be able to build on it. Coming back with the same roster is not a palatable option. Of course, they need to improve. We talked about that. Luka Doncic was promised a whole bunch of things to be, in regards to upgrading the roster, rim running big, two-way players, athletic wings, quality shooters. So there's a lot of things that the Lakers have to add, man, for them to even be a decent team. Austin Reeves declined his player option. We're going to see how much he wants. Never said that he wanted the max. Never said that he wanted the max, but at the same time, can't give it to him. Just can't. He's not worth the max. Sorry. They said that Golden State and Cleveland are watching the situation. We discussed that. Jackson Hayes and Marcus Smart, they need to come back. So you got to find ways to re-sign them. And throughout it all, the Lakers felt that this team, this season, was a success. Of course, you can definitely pinpoint that. Of course, it's a success. Back-to-back 50 win seasons for JJ Redick. That's impressive. Being able to get out of the first round, that's impressive. Having the second most cap space and putting your team in a position to be able to add pieces, pretty good. They have a late first round draft pick this year, which they have to go ahead and hit on. So there's things that they can be able to do here. There's some Giannis talk that they might be in a race for. Who knows? So, again, going back to the original ask, is there some hurt feelings? Of course there can be, just because of the length of the relationship. That's just normal. So, moving on. Moving on.